This project is called Data Crunch. What percent of college students graduate with debt? And it's called Data Crunch because you're going to have to look at the data given in this bar graph in order to answer the questions. Let's take a look at the bar graph first. I want you to see that the title is College Crush, Average Student Debt at Graduation. And we look at it as thousands of dollars when we're reading it. So we're not just saying $10, we're saying $10,000 as we go up in value here. And the constants are the time. So here we start with 1993, 2000, and this of course is 2005, 2010, and 2015. Now we are going to take a look at the students graduating with loan debt on this side as well, which has the percentage. So on this side here, we're going to see what percent of students have debt. So this would be 20% of students graduate with debt, 40 graduate with debt, 60, and of course 80. Now, make sure that you understand what debt is. Debt means that is money that you still owe people in order to pay for college. So if you take a student loan from a bank or another financial company or institution, you owe that money to them and will continue to have to pay that money back until you've paid it all, along with the interest that they're charging you. So when they say students graduating with loan debt, they're talking about people who have taken out loans and still need to pay back their loans even after they've graduated college. Now let's take a look at the questions that you're going to be answering, and I'm going to help you with them one question at a time. Number 1, how much has the average student debt at graduation changed between 1993 and 2015? And we look first at this word changed. This word changed means that you're going to be using subtraction in order to find the difference between those two time periods, 1993 and 2015. And look also that it's looking at the average student debt. That means we're going to be taking a look at the blue numbers here, remembering that those are in the thousands. So you're going to first look at the biggest amount. That's what we have here. And you're going to have to estimate or take a little guess about what that would be. I'd say it's about halfway between the 30,000 and 40,000 mark. So your first number will be 35,000, and then you'll subtract it from the 1993 number. Looking here, that looks like it would be about 14,000. You'd subtract those two numbers to find your answer for number 1. For number 2, what percent of students graduating in 2015 had student loan debt? Has this number been increasing or decreasing? First, look at the word percentage, and we know from percentage that we're going to be looking at this red side because that's the percent side. So in 2015, about what percent? We look here, that's between 60 and 80, probably about 70% of the students in 2015 graduated with loan debt. And has this number been increasing or decreasing? Let's look at the trend. This line represents a trend. It's a trend line, and it looks like it's going up. If a trend line goes up, then we say it's increasing. Taking a look at question 3, it says, when looking at the average student debt, so average student debt, we're going to look at the blue numbers. How might you divide up the period from 1993 to 2015 into 3 distinct periods based on rate of growth? Okay. So if you take a look again at the amount of growth that we have, you're going to see that there was a nice steady increase from 1993 all the way to about here in the year 2000. And then from 2000 to about here, 2004, there wasn't really any growth. The growth started again in 2005, and this time it went up even faster all the way through 2015. So if I were going to break it into 3 different sections, I have to communicate that by doing the time frame that those 3 different sections are from 1993 to 2000, from 2000 to 2005 or 4, and then from 2005 to 2015, that's how you can break it up into the 3 different distinct periods based on the rate of growth. Number 4, based on the last several years, do you think we are getting closer to an upward bound or on the percentage of graduates who need to borrow or their average student debt loan? Okay, I'm going to reread that. Based on the last several years, do you think we are getting closer to an upward bound on the percentage of graduates who need to borrow or their average student debt loan? All right, an upward bound means that we're going to reach a point where we're not going to grow anymore. For example, if you see here where it kind of leveled out a little bit and stopped growing so much, they're asking if you think that's going to happen again anytime soon, that we might reach a point where things are starting to average out a little bit, that they're going to start being a little steadier like we saw over here. If you think that we're going to keep on growing and growing and growing and growing, then you have to say that you don't think that we will reach an upward bound and why you don't think that. If you do think we will, then make sure you say which one you believe we will reach an upward bound in. Will we reach an upward bound in the percentage of graduates? That means that's going to level out. Or do you think that the average student debt load will average out? If you're talking about the percentage averaging out or getting steady, then you're talking about this brown line. So we're talking about this brown line instead of continuously increasing, kind of leveling out. So if you think that this is going to become a flat line and level out, then you would say that you believe that it is the percentage that will reach the upward bound. Finally, number 5, what do you think may explain the reasons behind these changes in average student debt and the percent of college graduates who borrow? There are many reasons that these increases have occurred. You have to think critically about your knowledge of the college process, how much colleges cost, the amounts that people need to borrow, and why people are borrowing more than they might have done 20 years ago. And using your best judgment, see if you can figure out if you can explain the reasons why there's been such a huge increase in student debt and that the percentage continues to climb. All right, that's it for the project. Call me over if you have any additional questions.